Hi everyone. So in this video, I'll explain about variables. So basically, I'll create one file. So creating file is this is the steps actually. So you have to click on this folder, and after that you have to click on the new, and after that if you click on this Python file, just mention as a so what I'm mentioning is like variable tutorials, variables underscore tutorial. We don't need to explicitly put .py. So if you are selecting Python file, it will end with the .py only. Okay, so basically I'll give some definition of this variable and this thing and see variable actually it is a container which stores some value. Okay, so see this is a PyCharm IDE. So if you mention this then it will be commented. So then it won't be included in the coding part. It just the editor cannot can understand it as a just it's a commented part. This is for our reference. Okay, so basically, like as I mentioned earlier, so variable is nothing but a container which stores some values. Like we'll understand this in our scenario. Like basically, we do some mathematics. Like so, there in order to solve the problems, we'll take some reference. Like let x equal to something 5, let y equal to 3, let z equal to something 0. So in that way, we'll start the process, and at the end, we'll get some solution. We can find some answer. So similarly, that is the same concept in programming also. So we'll make something like we'll take something, and after that we'll store some value in that, and after that we'll use that thing in the process to extract or to get the not extract to get our desired outcomes or to get the outcomes. In that way we use these variables, and this is one of the basic concept, and it's you have to understand clearly about these variables. And so what you have to understand related to variables is like you have to understand how to declare that and how to initialize that and how to use that and what are the scope, like what is the local scope and global scope. So these kind of things I'm gonna cover in this video. So let's, as I discussed earlier, let x equal to something 5 or 6, and after that let y equal to 7 or something like that. So in that way you can declare the variables, and see I can declare the name also, like z equal to something like uh, to my name. So I can declare like this. So in this way I can able to use. But so first I'll explain the rules and in order to declare the variables and how you have to maintain the naming conventions and these things I'll explain. So see, first thing you have to consider is like whatever the variable it is, it has to start with either underscore or it has to start with a letter. So okay, so suppose if uh, name, then that is equal to something or something. So it has to start with this. Otherwise, like it has to start with underscore name equal to ram. Then it's fine. Otherwise, if you start something with 1 2 equal to something like this, something like 5 6, then it doesn't make any sense. It's not a variable, so it is an error. So you have to remember the first rule is like the variable has to start with either letter or underscore. So rest of the you know this is the number first rule, and after declaring this pattern, like suppose value underscore, you can give whatever you want, so it doesn't make any sense. You can use something as many things as possible. So basic rule is like it has to start with underscore and or it has to start with the letter. So that is your the first observation. And after that, so it's a variable, right? So suppose if you declare it as a 6 in the first, like after that you can modify at the end. I want to modify it as a 10. Then I can make x equal to 10. Still it is fine. Why? Because it's a variable. It will change eventually. So in this way you can declare and you can update and you can see this thing. So basically I cover some data types in the next video. So it's there are many data types available like int, string, float, list, and these kind of things. And after that, you have to um, know about this. You can assign multiple. You can assign values to multiple variables also. Like suppose if a comma b comma c that equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3, still it is fine. So in this way, like 1 is stored in a, 2 is stored in b, 3 is stored in c. So I think this is not possible in the other programming languages. In few of the other programming languages, you can make like this also: a equal to b equal to c equal to 10. So that is also possible. And you can assign different things to different variables, like a comma b comma c equal to. So first I want to make a as 1, and after that next I want to make it as a float, like something like 56.7. Next comma, and in the C I want to assign this as a place, like Hyderabad. So still it is fine. So now A is 1 is stored in A, 56.7 stored in B, and Hyderabad is stored in C. So and next thing is like see, there is a operators and everything like that we can discuss in the next tutorials. Like uh, now I want to explain about the scope of the variables, like local scope and global scope. Basically, there are two things: a local scope, uh, global scope. Okay, so what is a low? Suppose if you create one method, def, and if it is a function one, and after that. After that, you declared I equal to 5 or something. In this process, then you are making I plus equal to 1. Then you are printing I something. So see, this is a this now the uh, variable I is present inside this function. Then this is a local scope. Why? Why? Because if it is not declared outside of the method. See, Python approach is like top to down, like top to bottom approach. Whatever you declare top, and from that part will start the execution line by line. And see, if you declare these things inside a function or a method, then the scope of this variable is only only for this particular block. So if you call this variable outside, it won't respond. Why? Because you declare this thing inside this method and you are using this inside the method. So this is nothing but a local scope. Let us assume if you declare I equal to 10, then in this case, it is a global variable. Why? Because you used I. So in this case, you don't need to declare here. So you just need to remove this. Still, okay, still it'll work fine. Like see. So now still it'll work fine because you would already declare this thing in the outside. So it'll work fine. So this is nothing but the global scope. Next, I want to declare about the naming convention. Suppose whenever you are using the variables, you have to maintain some naming, naming conventions. Like suppose you are creating some logic for the students, then you have to use like student underscore name equal to, then declare that name as something like Ham or something. Then student underscore age equal to something like 9 or something, 10 or something, whatever. So you have to understand these things, like so whenever you are declaring any variables or creating many variables, you have to understand, like give some proper naming convention, so that when once you come back, like after 6 months, after 1 year, so if you look into the program, then you can understand, okay, easily understand. Like, and also whenever you're giving this code to some other person, they can understand, like, okay, what is this variable and what kind of a variable it is. And so you have to maintain some naming conventions, so it will make the job easier, so it will make the things easier. So I hope you learn some things in this tutorial, and So we'll meet in the next tutorial.